Electric Soldier Porygon, an iconic piece of Pokemon trivia and one of the infamous banned episodes. The reason why we don't have Porygon or its evolutions in the Pokemon anime. Or is it? Dogasu's backpack did a write-up and has the Cyber Soldier Porygon rumor guide. Also, strong recommend follow for Dogasu's backpack on Twitter. They put in an insane amount of work to have the best fan site about Japanese Pokemon content you can't find anywhere else. We got features, we got translations, we got breakdowns, and then we can also go into crazy rumors that have made its way from Japan to America. So let's find out the truth behind the Porygon episode. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, comment your thoughts down below, and definitely follow Dogasu's backpack on Twitter and keep up with their Bulba Garden content. So when you have an event as huge as Pokemon Shock was, there are bound to be rumors that pop up from time to time. On this page, I'll take a look at the more popular claims made about the incident and figure out if there's really any evidence to back these up. Now we have a deep dive in this, even going into the rumored 4Kids dubbed episode. Did it really exist? But let's start off with the Japanese government banning the episode. So we all know that TV Tokyo pulled Cyber Soldier Porygon off the air, and it hasn't aired since. But rumor has it things were taken even further with the Japanese government, and they actually stepped in to ban the episode altogether. Other claims state copies of the episode were seized by the Japanese government and then destroyed altogether in order to prevent anyone from ever releasing it to the public. Okay, that seems pretty insane. I haven't heard it go that far on like a complete ban. Let's see how far the ban goes for Cyber Soldier Porygon. The thing is, there doesn't seem to be any evidence to support this. Oh. While various government agencies did indeed get themselves involved with this incident, the Diet, the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare, the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications, even the Prime Minister himself got involved, I haven't been able to find a single shred of evidence that anyone actually moved to have the episode officially banned on a national level. And if the episode had been banned, they did a really lousy job enforcing it. After the episode initially aired on December 16th, we know it was getting freely passed around from TV station to TV station in Japan. Now this is really interesting. A reporter on December 21st reacted to watching the episode on camera, and they had like medical monitoring equipment. You can see they were like, yeah, we watched it, made me feel sick, but no seizures. And then the sequence does go on for quite a while. And any of you kids out there that have found the episode and watched out of curiosity, yeah, they really laid it on, and you could understand, like, man, that was not a healthy thing to just throw at kids back in the day, was it? It was even shipped overseas, where people like Professor Graham Harding could review it. So it mentions TV Tokyo's research team showed Pokemon episode 38 to the BBC, Channel 4, ITC, and they also showed it to Professor Harding. So yeah, it wasn't something where it's like, this is too dangerous, it needs to be banned, it needs to be destroyed, cannot be distributed. Well, a lot of news outlets got a hold of it to kind of see for themselves if they would get a seizure or have some kind of reporting on it, and it was even distributed overseas because it was making international news. For an episode supposedly banned by the government, it sure did get passed around a lot. Claims that the episode was ever destroyed seem to be without merit either. It would also be wholly ineffective, as the episode would remain freely available online regardless of what happened to the original film. And yeah, like, it was so banned you could just kind of find it back in the day and watch it for yourselves. Also, it doesn't seem like a ban would be necessary because TV Tokyo and OLM wouldn't have interest in re-airing the episode and potentially causing another issue. A government ban doesn't need to exist for the episode to never see the light of day. It's staying off the air regardless, which is kind of a shame. Even with like potential edits and stuff, it just seems to be too delicate of a subject after what happened. We also have the rumor that a second wave of victims was caused by news reports coverage of the incident. Now, I have heard about this rumor from the Pokemon Shock incident. After the December 16th broadcast of Cyber Soldier Porygon, all anyone on Japanese TV wanted to do was talk about Pokemon. The show was plastered all over TV news shows over the next few weeks and became an international news story. But rumor has it, some news stations actually aired an unedited version of the scene in question, and then these rebroadcasts triggered a second wave of seizures among children. The idea is that children who maybe missed the initial broadcast were then exposed, and that triggered seizures again that were missed live. The source of this rumor seems to come from a Routers piece back in 1997 entitled Monster TV Cartoon Illness Mystifies Japan. Other children were stricken when they watched TV replays of the offending scene in news reports on the earlier victims. There it is, a little blurb in a late 90s news article that expanded upon the Porygon folklore. The BBC also made this claim on a news report that same day, saying more children had fits when excerpts were played on the news. All of these reports, and then the ones that would follow for years and years, made a single sentence statement about reruns triggering a second wave, but didn't bother to elaborate any further. Because of this, some very key pieces of information are missing. What networks showed uncut footage? Like, why would they do that? It's like, hey, this part right here gave kids seizures. Let's show it again. Which news shows, what time, and then how many children were a part of the second wave. So I haven't seen any Japanese language news sources making the claim either. We have that overseas embellishment about some crazy Japanese cartoon news. A Japanese page mentions a 42-year-old man and a 15-year-old boy losing consciousness after watching a VHS recording of the episode, but that's not the same thing as getting triggered again off of a live news broadcast. A few years later, the book Pokemon Story came out in Japan and provided a timeline of how the reporting of the incident went down in Japan. And that's what it is. It's a timeline of the broadcast, when it happened, and who reported on it. And then at 11 p.m. with the World Business Satellite, that's where we get the report that 200 people had been taken to the hospital. Is it possible that maybe one of these broadcasts were the ones that allegedly reran the footage? As far as I know, none of these TV reports have ever been archived, so we can't really say for sure, but the very next sentence in the book makes it seem like, no, they weren't. During this time, multiple members of the mainstream media reached out to TV Tokyo for materials from the show, and their requests were denied, which is obvious. While TV networks still had access to the footage, every single Japanese TV news broadcast I've been able to find from this time period refrained from showing the scene. Instead, they depicted footage with a series of still images. If news reports from this early in the incident's news cycle were able to determine that re-showing dangerous footage is maybe not the best idea, then it's highly unlikely any other network would have done it. At this point, anyone who wants to claim that Japanese news reports caused a second wave, then they're going to need to bring some factual information to it, but this seems like a false rumor. And then for the last piece of the rumor, we have the 4Kids dubbed episode, that there's rumors that an episode was dubbed, they just changed the scene around, and it was planned to be released, but then it magically didn't and stayed a banned episode. So perhaps the most widespread rumor of them all, did 4Kids actually dub Cyber Soldier Porygon? The background timeline explanation of this rumor gets a bit involved, so I'll actually get that covered in its own page later this week. And you know what? That's a good thing. Support Dogasu's backpack. Go and check out their write-up, so I'm not just stealing the entire article and everything about the rumors. We do have a little bit of cool information that's already been posted though, so I'm not just going to complete hard stop you right there. So I'm working on an article about whether or not the Porygon episode was dubbed into English. I know both Maddie Blaustein and Eric Stewart have said yes, they did indeed dub the episode, but has anyone else stated it? Are they the only two to make this claim? And there's like some interesting stuff behind that. I've seen many Veronica Taylor panels on YouTube, and there was a panel where Veronica said she did not recall dubbing the Porygon episode. And here's the post from Maddie that kicked it off back in May 2006 on the Cerebi forums with like a Q&A. So I read on Wikipedia that 4Kids actually dubbed the seizure-inducing episode. Did you or anyone else at 4Kids watch the episode, or at least the part with the flashing lights? We did. I saw it, didn't have a seizure, and then an Eric Stewart panel. But based on the replies, these are the only two who have claimed an English dub was ever made. Is this just to kind of keep up the allure and the lore of all these like crazy banned episode things that happened? Was it dubbed? Was it not? We're gonna have to wait on the write-up because the timeline does get weird apparently. And there's probably a lot more like deep diving and research that has gone on behind the scenes, but there we go guys, that's what we have on the Porygon episode. So it was dangerous, it did send hundreds of kids to the hospital, there were news reports on it, but those news reports did not trigger a second event of seizures or anything. That seems to be like creepypasta stuff. Same thing with the claim that like the Japanese government had banned the episode as well, and that this thing should never see the light of day again. It did, it was even distributed and then researched, and that's about as far as it went. As for the information on the dubbing, we will soon know the truth. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.